What's up, guys? I'm here to do a review on Judas and the Black Messiah. This is a non-spoiler review, so you guys can check out the movie for yourself. I'm not going to go verbatim on everything like I do for some movies. So yeah, I'm chilling. Got my pajamas on. I'm at the house. I'm doing reviews. That's what we're doing. So I want to start off though with some quotes from Fred Hampton. A couple quotes that I really loved, and we know that he was known for his speeches, but one of the quotes, which is why I wanted to do this review, which is why I wanted to watch the movie, is you can kill a revolutionary, but you can never kill the revolution. So the revolution still continues, it still goes on even after his death. People would always speak to also of how he dedicated his whole life to the people and to the movement. And so it's important to make sure that we mention that first of all, because that's why we're all here. It's, one of them is you have to understand that people have to pay a price for peace. If you dare to struggle, you dare to win. And he definitely was willing to pay a price for peace. Peace ain't free. At least not here in this country that we live in. So, if you ever think about me and you ain't gonna do no revolutionary act, forget about me. I don't want myself on your mind if you're not going to work for people. He said he dies for the people, okay? Because he's high off the people. So, I mean, you can't do nothing but respect his legacy. And so I wanted to make sure that I just gave just a couple quotes from his infamous speeches. All right. And then in addition to that, I want to talk about some of his accomplishments and achievements. All right. And of course, I'm reading this from online. You can read it. You can look it up for yourself as well. But I just wanted to get into this stuff because this is the reason why we're here ultimately. He was an active member of the NAACP, became the leader of the youth council at the West Suburban Branch, worked to get better recreational facilities for his community. He was a member of the Black Panther Party, became the leader of the Chicago chapter and chairman of the Illinois state chapter. He followed police and looked out for the police brutality. He looked out for police brutality. Brokered a non-aggression pact between Chicago's most powerful street gangs. Made an alliance between the BPP and Young Patriots and the National Young Lords. Organized weekly rallies. Worked in the BPP's People's Clinic, taught political education classes, launched a project for community supervision of the police, helped with the BPP's Black Panther parties. For those who don't know what the BPP is, free breakfast program. So he was a worker. He was for the people. That's how they were saying it in the movie. The live and die for the people. Because I'm high off the people. Alright, so let's get into this movie. The name of the movie is Judas and the Black Messiah. And that's a playoff of the biblical story of Judas and Jesus. Because that story is a story about betrayal, and just like that story is a story about betrayal, this story is a story about betrayal. But it's coming from the perspective of the villain, right? Which we don't often get to see movies that come from the perspective of the villain. And it's hard to say that it's a good movie because it's so much foul play throughout the whole movie. Now, I love the movie, don't get me wrong, it is a great movie, but it's conflicting saying this is a good movie. because it's just so much foolery and so much betrayal and so much like just foul stuff going on behind the scenes to such a great man. When you watch Eye on the Prize Part 2, the interview with William O'Neill, he even says, like, I looked for everything. The guy was clean. He didn't have any drugs on him. He didn't have anything on him. He was clean. And so when you watch that movie from that perspective, it's just like, dang. Throughout the whole movie, you be like, dang. You just keep wanting William to do something different. But you know how it ends. Alright, so let's get into this. So, one thing about Fred Hampton was he was very young, y'all. He was only like 19, 20 years old, approximately. Very young doing these things. And his story, he became a martyr. Like, his story went well beyond his years. We're still talking about it to this day. And he's been gone. His his son is an adult. This movie was, his son was in the womb during this movie. And now he's an adult. So it's just, his legacy went on, his work, his efforts, all of that was carried on, which is ultimately what we wanted to see and what he wanted to achieve. So yeah, he was known for his quotes. He was known for his speeches. And I know in the movie they kind of implied that he kind of just freestyled his speeches. He spoke from his heart. And so everybody knows that hits different when you speak from the heart. And he had people literally following him. He brought gangs together, and they were able to reconcile and come together and work together for the people. Yeah. There's not a lot of people who could stand up and really fight the good fight, and their whole life is dedicated to that. We don't have a whole lot of people that are really literally willing to die for it. So then we get off into who this movie is ultimately about. It is about the Judas character, William O'Neill. He's an informant. He was helping the FBI. He was also a part of the Black Panther Party. He was a car thief. And so the FBI had caught on to this, and they had figured out that he was driving stolen cars over state lines. And so he wanted to work off a debt, and that's what he did. So Fred Hampton was played by Daniel Kaluuya. And Daniel is he's excellent. And I'm loving that I'm seeing him evolve. He plays really, really intense characters. He was in Black Panther, lead character in Get Out, lead character in Queen and Slim, just to name a few. Daniel's really great. You know what I like about Daniel? He acts with his eyes a whole lot. He has really big eyes, and he uses them really well to display certain things. I like that. I like how he utilizes his face and his facial expressions and his nonverbals. So he's very captivating. He transitions very well. It was cool. In this role, he had to be very strong, a very strong individual. Then you get him in Queen and Slim. He's playing someone just the average Joe kind of guy. He has some range, some acting range, and I appreciated his performance in this movie. I enjoyed his performance in this movie. Yeah, he's great. Um, let's see. He got down because when you would listen to Fred Hampton's speeches, he had a certain dialect, a certain way of speaking, and Daniel, it's cool to see him with an accent, taking on that accent. Um, it was cool. Now I had to watch it twice because a couple times I'm like, what is he saying? Die for the people. Like, what are you saying? I couldn't understand what he was saying, y'all. But yeah, he's excellent. All right. So then we get off into Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith was also in Get Out. He was excellent in this movie as well. It was, like I said, it was hard to watch because I don't know about anybody else, but betrayal hits a nerve. Okay? Betrayal hits a nerve. And when you have somebody on the screen and you know that they're like the enemy and all of us can't stand him and we're staring him in the eye and we're watching him betray people and we're watching him just get off on people. Ooh. Lakeith embodied this role. He really, really, really took this role on. He took on like that internal struggle. Like, as if you watch Eye on the Prize 2, you can see William O'Neill. There's an internal struggle. He wasn't proud of what he did internally. Maybe there was some times when he was. Like, I know in the movie, they show that variation of moods. You know, it's all good when you getting your money and you getting your bread and they're doing things for you for these things that you've done. But when you start seeing how it affects the people around you, when you start seeing what's happening to these other snitches around you, when you know that you had something to do with Fred Hampton's assassination, you could see him, he's sweating, you could see that internal struggle, and I feel like Lakeith literally perfected that. To the point where it's rumored that the audio engineers for the movie, they could hear his heartbeat. They could hear his heart beating excessively as he's playing the role. He took us on a journey. He took us on a roller coaster ride. We could see why he did what he did. Whether you wanted him to do what he did or not, whether you were against it, you could understand the perspective, the opposing perspective. Why did he do this? Right? And what I saw in the movie was a person in survival mode. That's what I saw. It's a person in survival mode. Lakeith, from different interviews that I've been watching, he literally had to go to therapy after this. He literally had to go to therapy after playing this role. And I can see why. Because it's so intense to have such an internal battle, and then you're also playing this role that you don't agree with, in a sense, like of a character whose actions you don't agree with. It's challenging, and now people looking at you because you're the villain, like, you really like this dude? Or you really like this dude, William O'Neill? Yeah. So, Lakeith is excellent. He's an excellent actor. I really enjoyed him. He was in Knives Out. I really liked Knives Out. If you like suspense and a little bit of comedy, check out Knives Out. He was in Get Out. He was in The Photograph. Just to name a couple movies that he was in. He's good. He's really good. I love to see these characters. I love to see these actors giving their all, giving us variation. The movie couldn't have come at a better time. It came out during Black History Month. Yeah. So I want to make sure so there was FBI agent Roy Mitchell. And when it came to William O'Neill and his role in, being an informant, he kind of said that he kind of looked up to the Roy Mitchell. He looked up to Roy Mitchell in some ways, He's a successful man, and William O'Neill was like having dinner there. He felt comfortable. He felt like he could tell him certain things. But as time progressed, Roy Mitchell wanted more and more information. And you could see William O'Neill looking like uncomfortable with that. Ooh. Movie was set in Chicago. I mean, the FBI's perspective was that the KKK and the Black Panther Party movement, they were one and the same. Look at them. They have guns. They're being violent. They're being violent over here too. And unfortunately, there were some black people who really felt that way as well. They really believed that as well. And there were multiple informants, not just William O'Neill. Although this story is specifically about him, there were multiple informants. And the difference was, though, with William O'Neill, he laid out the key piece that helped with the assassination of Fred Hampton. It's not, for me, it wasn't a tearjerker, but it hit a nerve. It holds your attention. The transitions were good. The music was good. The setting, the wardrobe was perfect. It was just, I really enjoyed the movie. It does make you mad, though. While you're watching it, you're gonna get angry. Yeah. So then I also want to make sure I mention Dominique Fishback. Dominique Fishback played Fred Hampton's wife. Well, girlfriend. I want to make sure I have her name. Deborah. Yeah. She was really good. I liked what she brought to the movie. I really liked what she brought to the movie. She added some depth to the character. She could have really literally just came out here and just acted like, okay, I'm his girl and that's it. Deborah Johnson. Okay. Yep. It was the girl. She was the girlfriend. And Deborah Johnson had Fred Hampton's son, Fred Hampton Jr. They are still fighting for the cause to this day. But I want to make sure that I make mention, like Dominique Fishback, she did wonderful acting in this movie. I really could feel her frustrations. I could feel her she wanted to she just was passionate throughout the whole movie. I like to see the women in the Black Panther Party. They were feisty. You hear about the Afeni Shakors. You hear about how they are and how they don't take no mess. But you don't get to really see the ones that are pregnant and fighting for the cause. So they're trying to still hold down things, but they have a sense of vulnerability too, and they have a baby that they have to pay attention to, but they want to be right there in the fight. They're in shootouts, pregnant, carrying babies. It just really makes you appreciate those who were out fighting for the cause, fighting against injustice. And you could see the love and commitment that she had towards Fred. I like seeing how he could soften her up, and how she could soften him up. And I love seeing how he could like one up her. You know, I just their watching their love progress was enjoyable. Um, yeah. So, like I said, this is a non-spoiler review. I'm just giving y'all what I enjoyed. I'm not gonna give y'all anything else, but I think that the movie was really good, if you could say that, for such a movie that really just has so much betrayal in it. The story that was added into this story was good. The acting was great. Music was great. Transitions were great. All of that stuff was great. And it had a couple twists that you wouldn't expect. I want to make sure I call out the director, Shaka King, and Ryan Coogler also was a part of this movie. Martin Sheen, Jermaine Fowler, and Charelle Hill, they were the directors of this movie. I enjoyed it. It wasn't all like, because sometimes some of our movies, especially about our history, can be so heavy. This was more intense. This was more intense. I didn't leave with a heavy heart. I felt empowered after watching it. And then you see why some of these things are necessary. Because unfortunately, I don't know what it is about this, but when those revolutionary figures pass away, it's something about that carries their legacy even further. People start to talk. People start to know more. It's like as if they've never died. It's like they gain a new life within that legacy. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. Check out the movie. Tell me how you feel about the movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I watched it twice. So, Judas and the Black Messiah. This is your girl, Charelle Unique here. I'll be right back for another review. I'll holla.